At just 12, she sued her parents because they had her and got pregnant again despite many kids, and their greed led to her sister's death. I remember that morning, Zain found a bloodstain on the sheet. He picked it up, sniffed it, and realized it was his sister's. Without telling his parents, he quickly took his sister to a bathroom and washed the blood off her underwear. Then he took off his shirt, wrapped it up, and taught his sister to place it between her legs, warning her not to let anyone know because in their place, a girl who starts menstruating is considered grown up. Once grown up, she can be married off. If the person is a scumbag, life becomes unbearable. Several of their friends were driven insane this way. They live in a Lebanese slum, a gathering place for refugees and undocumented people. Zain lives in such an environment. Their large family is crammed into a dimly lit rental. Even though the family is dirt poor, Zain's parents are still keen on having more children. The cramped house is filled with cries and complaints. The parents have no time to care for the youngest son, so they chain his foot to prevent him from running around. Every time Zain comes home, he first unties his brother's foot and gently comforts him. The family doesn't even have a decent bed, so they all sleep on the damp floor at night. A curtain separates them, but it doesn't stop the parents from making more children. Sadly, they only care about having kids, not raising them. Even as they get poorer with each child, they keep having more. To them, boys are free labor who can earn money outside. Girls, once grown, become cash cows to be traded for money. Zain has a brother in prison, and to make extra money, their mother sends Zain to buy a drug called tramadol. It's a syringe drug similar to narcotics, and overdosing leads to dependency. The mother grinds the drug into powder, mixes it with water, and soaks clothes in it. Once dried, these clothes become carriers of tramadol. Then, the mother sends these clothes to prison for her son to sell. Looking at her imprisoned son, the mother doesn't scold him but feels proud of his ability to make money. This left Zain puzzled, as she had been the breadwinner since she could remember. Every day, she worked at the landlord Assad's grocery store to ease the rent burden. Her job was to help with deliveries for the store. On her delivery route, she often saw a small car pass by, with kids her age talking about school. Zain's eyes were filled with envy and loneliness, but the weight of fate left her no time to dwell, forcing her to keep hauling loads heavier than herself. At dinner that night, Zain finally mustered the courage to express her wish to go to school. Her mother surprisingly supported her idea, not for education, but because Zain could save on meals and bring back free food and supplies from school. But her father flatly refused. He worried that without Zain working for the landlord, they would lose their home and end up on the streets. When not working, Zain would take her younger siblings to buy drinks on the street. The area was full of thugs and street kids, and Zain had to ensure business ran smoothly while protecting her siblings with her small frame. Even when insulted and beaten, she never backed down. Zain loved sitting on the rooftop with her sister Sahar, drumming on a rusty bucket while Sahar leaned on his shoulder. In this family, they were each other's only support. The landlord's son had improper intentions towards Sahar, always asking Zain to bring hay and instant noodles for him. Zain knew his intentions and would throw the items away, as Sahar was the only pure thing in this dirty world, and she wouldn't let anyone taint her. Despite hiding her sister's arranged marriage well, their mother eventually found out. That day, Zain returned home to find chickens in the hallway. Sensing something was wrong, she rushed in to find an evil transaction taking place. On the sofa sat a heavily made-up Sahar and the landlord Assad. Zain knew her sister was about to be sold. So, she rushed forward to stop it. Her mother tried to drive the landlord and his son out, but it was futile against heartless parents who saw their daughter as a mature commodity, meant to be traded for money. Especially since it was their landlord. If they're unhappy, the family might lose their home. Zain, upset, rushes in and sees his sister with makeup beyond her age. He wipes off her lipstick and tries to tear off the cursed wedding dress. But no matter how hard he tries, he can't fight the survival rules here. Zain lies on the bed, thinking about how to protect his sister. After much thought, he decides to escape with her. While their parents aren't looking, he takes all the family's savings, only enough for one ticket. Luckily, a kind driver agrees to let his sister sit on Zain's lap for one fare. Zain then goes to the landlord's store to steal some supplies. Just as everything is ready to take his sister home, he hears her hysterical pleas and their mother's inhumane threats. "If you dare, run away, I'll kill you." Instantly, cries and wails fill the hallway, suffocating everyone. Seeing his sister dragged downstairs by their mother, Zain desperately tries to stop them, only to be beaten. After reflection, his sister is still heartlessly sent away by their father. In despair, Zain chases the motorcycle, calling his sister's name until it disappears. His long-suppressed anger erupts. This time, he's completely disillusioned with his family, realizing he can't fight the cold reality. Zain runs tirelessly until he boards a bus leaving home. Sunlight streams through the window onto his face, but he feels no warmth. Soon, an old man claiming to be Spider-Man's cousin, Zhang Langxia, boards, reminding Zain of his own life like Zhang Lang. The old man asks where he's going, but in this vast world, he doesn't know where to go. So he casually says he's going to his grandma's, making the childless old man envious. Along the way, the old man gets off at an amusement park. With nowhere to go, Zain follows him off the bus. Here, without the concept of time or the burden of supporting a family, he feels like a lamb out of the pen, lost and anxious. He sits on the Ferris wheel, quietly gazing ahead. The morning sun, symbolizing hope, rises slowly over the endless sea, rippling gently. Yet Zain feels no hope for the future, even while sitting on a ride that children love. Face reality. To survive, he needed a job, but no one dared to hire a child worker, so he was rejected again and again. Desperate, he climbed a playground sculpture, tearing at the clothes on it, wanting to feel the warmth of motherly love. This scene made the cleaner, Rahil, laugh secretly. Perhaps feeling sorry for him, Rahil kindly offered him a drink and bread, but it was just one meal and couldn't solve his long-term hunger. After more failed job searches, he returned to the playground, his young face filled with exhaustion and helplessness, watching the laughing children on the merry-go-round. At that moment, he felt worlds apart from them. Without income, Zain didn't know how to survive. After much thought, he focused on Rahil, who had helped him before, and pleaded with her on her way home to help him find a job. Initially, Rahil didn't want to get involved because her life was already chaotic. As an undocumented immigrant, she had a child before marriage, and her boyfriend disappeared immediately. At work, she had to hide her child in a small bathroom, sneaking time to breastfeed. She was overwhelmed and had no energy to care for another child. But Zain stubbornly followed her, and perhaps out of pity, Rahil eventually took him home. That night, Zain finally took a long-awaited bath and ate a hot meal. Warm bed. Finally shedding his fatigue, wrapped in a blanket, and slept deeply. Rahil took Zain in hoping he could watch her son, Yunus, while she worked. Taking care of a child was easy for Zain. At first, Rahil was cautious, counting the money at home every night. But over time, she saw Zain had no ill intentions and was good to Yunus. He fed him, changed his diapers, and when Yunus cried, he used a mirror to reflect cartoons from the neighbor's TV. They got along well, with Zain treating Yunus like a little brother. When tired from playing, they slept together. Rahil returned home to see this warm scene. A comforting smile appeared on her face. That day, Rahil secretly brought back leftover cake from the guests. In the dim candlelight, they enjoyed this rare treat like happy mice. During this time, Rahil asked Zain if he missed his family. Zain told him he missed his sister the most, but she had already married the landlord. He imagined his sister's wedding with a joyful band, and people throwing rice and roses from the balcony. Rahil watched her silently, as if Zain's sister's wedding was just like that. Every day before going out, Rahil would apply paper cuts on her face to match the photo on her fake ID. Recently, her fake ID was about to expire. For this reason, she sought out Aspro again for a new fake ID. Unexpectedly, the other party demanded a hefty price of $1,500. It turned out she had been eyeing Rahil's son for a long time, wanting to take advantage and get him. She told Rahil that even a bottle of ketchup has an expiration date, but her son has nothing, so she should let her find him a good family. Then you could earn money at half price. Her words made the impoverished Rahil burst into tears, but out of maternal instinct, she refused Aspro. To her, her child is everything. In the days that followed, Rahil swallowed her pride, sought money everywhere, pursued wages her former boss deliberately withheld, and asked her current boss for an advance. However, no one was willing to lend her a hand. With no other options, she had to sell her beloved long hair. In the past, she would send money home every month for her sick mother, but this time, she could only tearfully ask for her mother's forgiveness. She lied, saying she couldn't send money because she was taking English classes. The burden of life weighed heavily on her shoulders, leaving her breathless. But she herself was just a young girl. With no other choice, Rahil decided to break her last line of defense. After dressing up nicely, she said goodbye to her son. Sensing something was wrong, her son kept waving at her. Unexpectedly, Rahil never returned after that. The next morning, Zain took the child and started searching the streets. Vehicles flowed endlessly along the way. Zain struggled to carry Yunus, who was almost half his size. Despite being exhausted, he persisted because it was Rahil's responsibility left to him, and he had to take good care of the child. The journey was full of twists and turns. After asking around, he found Aspro. The other party immediately recognized little Yunus, being sly, reached out to hold the child but was warily refused by Zain. When he learned Zain was looking for Rahil, he claimed ignorance. Even Rahil's phone was already turned off. He bought sandwiches to show goodwill to Zain, but Zain refused. Hurt by the world, she saw through his hypocrisy. Then Zain left with the child, wandering aimlessly on the street looking for Rashiel's figure. When passing by the small pond, the smell of cookies made her swallow. Even though they had been on the road for a long time, they were penniless, can only watch helplessly. As she finally collapsed from hunger and cold in a corner of the street, like a shrimp, curled up and fell asleep, yet she didn't know. Yesterday, Raheel just stepped onto the street and was arrested by the police. When you think life is already very bad, often worse things are waiting for you. In the police station, a group of frail illegal immigrants stand in a line, panicked. The police ask each if they have children born on this land. The children can stay, but they will be deported. From then on, separated. Raheel, not wanting to be treated this way, can only avoid the police. Secretly expressing milk and crying non-stop. Apologizing to the child, Zain wasn't much better off. After searching for Raheel's place, Zain could only return to the rental with the child. Hungry, Naz cried loudly, so Zain used his limited savings to buy him cheap milk powder. He searched the whole house, only finding some ice cubes left in the fridge. Sprinkle the milk powder on the ice cubes, then they happily huddled together. Without money to pay the water bill, the house soon lost its water supply, but after running out of food, Zain decided to sell some things at home for money. To move things easily, he snatched a pedal from a neighbor's kid. The long oppressive life stung her inner nerves. At this moment, she no longer cared about others' opinions. Tie a few pots from home onto a skateboard, and it's a simple little cart. At least these can be exchanged for some food. At the market, she met a girl her age named Messam. She shared her business secret with us, which is to speak appropriately to different people. At a young age, she mastered the survival rules here. She told us once she saved enough money, she'd go to Sweden, where kids don't worry about food. No one asks where you're from, and there's no discrimination. Hearing this, Zain was instantly captivated by this dreamlike country, but Messam said to go to Sweden, you need at least $30. After saying this, he gave Zain Aspro's phone number. Through him, you can get a ticket to escape here. Messam even drew a small boat next to his number. In his view, this boat carries his future. As long as he can step on the deck, his life will set sail. When he heard it costs $30 to go to Sweden, penniless Zain had to give up the idea. Messam said people from Lebanon can get supplies for free. Zain went home and practiced in front of the mirror. The staff saw through her poor acting immediately. Perhaps out of sympathy, the staff didn't make it hard for her and even gave her a big bucket of milk powder and some diapers. Without water, the hungry two could only sit by the roadside chewing dry milk powder. Cars kept speeding by, but none stopped for them. Amidst the traffic, they felt so lonely and desolate. After the food they received was gone, she had to take things from home to the market again. No matter what Zain brought, Aspro took it all without question. His goal wasn't charity, but to quickly clean out their things. When they hit rock bottom, Zain would surely sell Jonas to him. When he heard Zain asking about going to Sweden, Aspro started to deceive him. Rashiel and I have it all planned. Trust me with Jonas. Once it's done, I'll give you $50. Then you can go anywhere. In Antin, I was tempted, but he still had dreams about the world and chose to leave with Jonas again. On their way home, the kids passed a car wash, with a kind worker's help. They bathed and washed their clothes. As they cleaned up, it felt like they washed away their worries. At that moment, their fatigue seemed to vanish. While hanging clothes at home, Zain found his mom's forged Kumato prescription in his pocket. So, he decided to make illegal drinks again. But in a spotless house, there wasn't even a drop of water. Zain fetched seawater and crushed the Kumato into it. Luckily, as long as it worked, the addicts didn't care. Every day, Zain's drinks would be snatched up. Soon, Zain saved a lot of money. At this rate, he could head to Sweden soon. But just as he dreamed of a bright future, reality hit hard. When the addicts found out he was a kid without adult protection, they stopped being nice. They stole Zain's drinks and beat him up when he resisted. When a dejected Zain returned to the rental, he found that due to unpaid rent, the landlord had thrown out his things and changed the lock. Zain desperately tried to break the door because all his money was inside. As he pounded on the door, Zain realized he had fallen back into the same old abyss. In this vast world, where could he call home? With nowhere to go, he sat on the street with Jonas. After a fierce internal struggle, he decided to give this cruel world one last chance. He left Jonas by the roadside and hid in a corner, hoping a kind person would adopt him. Tears filled Zain's eyes. Unaware, Jonas repeatedly reached out to him. Almost getting caught in traffic several times. Worried he might get hit by a car, Zain tied him to the roadside. Passers-by only glanced out of curiosity, not caring about Jonas's fate. Listening to Jonas's cries, Zain's heart ached. Zain was utterly hopeless about this country. In despair, he turned to Aspro again, agreeing to hand over Jonas, but only if he could find him a good home. No matter how Jonas lived afterward, It was better than dying on the streets with him. Ultimately, Zain exchanged Jonas for a ticket to Sweden, but he couldn't feel happy at all. He held Jonas tightly, repeatedly apologizing. When he arrived at the barber shop, tears streamed down his face. This wasn't what he wanted. No matter how tough life was, whether he was beaten or humiliated, or even when the money he worked hard for disappeared, he never shed a tear. But giving away Jonas made him feel utterly hopeless. As a child, he was powerless to protect another child. Fortunately, Aspro kept his promise. However, to go to Sweden, he needed proof of identity. To get the identity documents, Zain returned to that filthy and chaotic home. He didn't greet anyone, just kept searching for the documents. All he wanted was to escape this damned country as soon as possible. His mother saw him and immediately beat him without a word. His father, hearing he was looking for documents, dragged him to the cabinet, pulled out a pile of papers, and angrily said, "I have all kinds of documents here. Prison records, deportation notices, hospital letters, but not the identity document you want. Get out." As he spoke, his father became very agitated, throwing Zain out like trash. Zain sensed some sadness in his father's tone, and a bad feeling surged in his heart. He anxiously asked, "Did anyone in our family go to the hospital? Whose hospital bill is it?" His father sat on the sofa, without responding. After Zain repeatedly pressed for answers, his mother finally revealed the heartbreaking news. "Your sister Sahar, after getting pregnant, had a miscarriage and unfortunately bled to death at the hospital entrance." Hearing this, Zain completely lost his mind. He had lost Rahil, who took him in, sold Jonas, whom he had cared for, and now his beloved sister was gone too. She ran to the room, grabbed a knife, and dashed downstairs like a madwoman. She shouted for everyone to see what it truly meant to lose everything. Her chaotic life had long lost hope, and she was determined to take revenge on everything. At this moment, no one could stop her. In her anger, she stabbed the landlord. Even with blood on her face, she was calm when taken to jail. That night, well-dressed visitors came to the prison to perform. Zain watched everything indifferently from a corner. The prison wall seemed to separate two worlds. One side was heaven, the other hell. In the lively crowd, Rashir was also silent, quietly crying for her child. Suddenly, Zain's name was announced over the broadcast. Hearing the familiar name, Rashir rushed to the door to see what was happening. When she saw Zain but not her son, she broke down in tears. With the guards' help, they met. Only then did Zain realize he had been deceived. Aspro was a shameless trafficker, but it was too late. That day, his mother came to visit him in prison. Zain noticed his mother's rounded belly and realized she was pregnant again. A mother who didn't cherish her children was having another. Zain sarcastically congratulated her, saying she no longer needed to wear mourning clothes. His mother wasn't angry. She offered his favorite snacks to get close to him. She told Zain if the baby was a girl, she'd name her Sahar. Hearing this, Zain couldn't hold back his emotions. He angrily told his mother to leave and threw the snacks into the trash. That night, a live TV show aired in the prison, helping people solve social issues. After much thought, Zain called the show. He wanted to sue his parents, to make adults listen to him, and to stop those who couldn't care for children from having more. Otherwise, the memories would only be of violence, abuse, insults, beatings, chained, doused with water, whipped with belts. The mildest words were, "Get lost, brat." Life was worse than dog crap. This conversation quickly spread through the prison via live TV and shocked society. Days later, in court, the whole nation watched the boy. The judge summoned Assad, who narrowly escaped but was left paralyzed. The judge asked if he married a 1-year-old girl, and he innocently replied that everyone around him did. The lawyer, puzzled, questioned him further. Why did Saha die from a massive hemorrhage at the hospital entrance while pregnant? Her mother tearfully revealed it was because Saha had no ID, and the hospital refused to admit her. She then lamented her life as a slave, a pain no one could understand, especially not the high and mighty judges who had no right to judge. The once lively courtroom fell silent. The judge asked Zain what he wanted his parents to do. He solemnly told the judge he hoped they would stop having children. The judge promised this could be arranged, but Zain then asked, "What about the one in her belly?" This question silenced the courtroom again. Days later, the police successfully captured Aspro and rescued Rahil's son. At last, fate took a happy turn. Rahil was reunited with her child, tears of joy and excitement streaming down her face. Even though she was deported, to her, home is wherever her child is. Zain finally got a real ID card. During the photo, he remained serious until the photographer told him it was for an ID, not a death certificate. The gloom of his past seemed to lift, and he smiled brightly for the first time. Capernaum is a Lebanese drama directed by Nadine Labaki, released in 2018. The film is based on a true story, with Zain al-Rafia playing himself. During filming, the director didn't provide specific lines, allowing actors to improvise based on the situation. Zain's story highlights the survival issues of refugees, giving us a glimpse into their world, and the question of where they belong remains unanswered. The city's sewers are filled with those who can't see the light of day. Rats. While people try to cover up the issue, they wish for 3 meals a day and rest at sunset. But from birth, they are the underclass, forced to wander and beg, unable to rise above their status. In this context, parents desperately have children, hoping to climb the social ladder through them, but they can't take responsibility for raising them. Being a parent is the easiest job in the world because it requires no exam, no need for the child's consent. But for selfish reasons, bringing a child into this world, making them endure cruelty without love, such parents are truly cruel. The meaning of continuing life isn't treating children as bargaining chips. Hope every child has an identity and a warm home. Let every child like Zain have a school to attend and a home to return to after school. This is the ultimate meaning the whole movie hopes for. Alright, that's all for today's story. Feel free to like, comment, and share. Looking forward to our next meeting.
Yeah.